Hello and welcome to the Hill and Valley. This is Nick Roby. Thanks for joining once again. We got some college football this weekend for the Clemson Tigers, so let's talk about it. The Clemson Tigers will host on Senior Day, North Carolina, number 20 in the country. They are 7-2 coming into this matchup, 8-2, and it's a big game. It's a big game for North Carolina. They're still in the hunt for an ACC title appearance, and Clemson is trying to finish out the season well. You've got to finish out the home slate before you play South Carolina next week, and it's a very interesting game, and a big one in the ACC as well, because right now it's looking like Louisville or UNC has a strong chance, and Virginia Tech has an outside chance too, believe it or not. It might not necessarily feel like it, but they do as well. So it's big on both ends. So Clemson, of course, is coming in after wins over Notre Dame and Georgia Tech, especially last week with Georgia Tech. That was a pretty sound victory all around. They let in a couple of touchdowns in the fourth quarter when the game was already decided. North Carolina is coming in after the win over Duke. They won 47-45 and double overtime. So they won against their rival. However, they won, but they gave up 22 points in the fourth quarter and kind of let Duke hang around and stay into the game. And then they ended up winning a close one at home. So they keep their hope alive for the ACC title race and give themselves an opportunity. They're a very interesting team to me because when they're on, especially on offense, when they're on, it's great. But they can also just have some of these lulls, and their losses are just have been very surprising throughout the year. I mean, their loss to Virginia and their loss to Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech showed to move the ball, but just maybe when you look at the record before the season, before the schedule before the season, I don't know if you would have picked that for them. So very interesting, but I mean, they still have a lot of their goals and their things in front of them. So it's a very motivated team for sure, especially after the score line as it was last year in the ACC title game against Clemson. So this is their first matchup since then. So very interesting. Because they definitely were able to move the ball in that game, but they just weren't able to all the way capitalize. And I would say red zone defense really stepped up. They had the pick six from Wiggins, and that's the game where DJ started, but Cade came in and then led the team and ended up being the MVP of the game. So it was a big game for them. That was the Turner, the Cole Turner game where he had 100 yards receiving, and it's a very interesting game. Kind of its own unique thing. I don't know if we had seen that throughout the year, and we haven't even seen it this year. So very interesting. North Carolina, they're very proficient on offense, and I think that's the thing coming into this is this is a team who can score, they can move the ball. I mean, Drake May, Amarion Hampton, Tez Walker, like those guys they're good players, and like they're scoring 39.8 points per game, like they're able to move the ball. It's very impressive what they're doing. So to me, it's a matter of, it's not how much, like North Carolina's going to score, I mean, they're just one of those teams where like they're going to score a little bit, but it's more of, can you capitalize yourself on defense and take advantage when they give you opportunities. But Drake May on the year, he's 3,100 yards, 65% completion percentage, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions as well. Amarion Hampton out of the backfield has 1,236 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6.0 average running the ball, which is pretty good for that many carries. And then Drake May himself has 8 touchdowns. So he's been known to use his legs. And then Tez Walker, 35 receptions, 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. JJ Jones, 536 yards. Bryson Nesbitt, the tight end, has 5 touchdowns and 500 receiving yards. So they're pretty dynamic, and they're definitely a team to be reckoned with offensively. I think the keys for them when they have the ball is that I think Drake May he's gonna make some plays, right? And so you just don't want to let him beat you necessarily. And I think what Clemson can do is Clemson. I think what they can do is what they'll try to do. Would be my guess is they're going to try to maybe control the running game a little bit and try to force them into third and longs, and then force them to have to, continue to make long passes, on those third downs, and then maybe cause a couple turnovers, but basically don't let Hampton beat you, and then don't let May beat you with his legs. And I think May passing is just he's going to get a certain amount, right? Like, I mean, he's that good. I mean, there's talks of him. It's like him or Caleb Williams, for the number one quarterback taken, in the draft. Like he is that. I'm telling you, if you haven't got to see him, like he is that good. So he's gonna get some stuff. But I think they can limit the running game, especially with Hampton. Keep him contained, and then keep May contained on third down. An underrated part of his game, or a game that we need to talk about, is that he really can run, and he is very athletic. He's very good at moving the pocket and keeping plays alive, and scoring with his legs. And you can't just like drop into coverage. He definitely can beat you with his legs like Cade can, but I would say May is really good at that. I mean, he's got 8 touchdowns for a reason, especially in the red zone, and like he's just very good at, plays not there, I'm going to run, run to my left, try to find the guy. Okay, I scoot, and next thing I know, I've gotten 11 yards in the first down, which can be pretty demoralizing for a defense. So I would just say like that's really big. And I would say if you can force field goals, in the red zone, that's big. And we've seen that in last year and in games before. If you can keep them out of the end zone in the red zone, that's really big, because obviously 7's bigger than 3. I mean, I'm not telling you all anything you don't know, where it seems really obvious. But if you can really contain them, especially when they get to the 20, I mean, that's big, and it gives your offense an opportunity. Because defensively, they're all right. I would say that they're kind of middle of the pack when it comes to numbers and stuff. Their secondary can definitely be one where if Cade and the wide receivers are clicking, they can score some points. I think both teams will be able to score some points, and then I think the big thing too is turnovers for the offense. I mean, it's kind of you kind of reuse the same things, and it's a reason why they emphasize it so much. But I think turnovers are massive, because I think you'll be able to run the ball some. I think you'll be able to move the ball through the air. You just have to limit the turnovers, and Clemson needs to score when they get into the red zone. Like you don't want to get in a shootout match with them, but at the same time, like you need to score when you have the opportunities. You want to force North Carolina to be the one pressing and trying to come back, versus like their offense and trying to keep their offense off the field too. I think that's a big thing with sometimes the best defense too, is your offense, keeping their offense on the field, off the field. So, like it's extending third downs. It's, using it that kind of a way, and then just keeps them off the field. It limits their opportunities for sure. So I think that's big. It's just capitalizing in the red zone and winning the turnover margin. And I think if you can do that, you give yourself a great opportunity. I think Clemson will be able to run the ball. Like Dabo in his press conference wasn't really talking about the defense that much. They have a really good linebacker, Cedric Gray. But other than that, I would just say that Clemson, I think, will be able to move the ball. It's just a matter of, can they capitalize and can they take care of it? So that's really the long and short of it. And I think it's just an opportunity as well. Something to watch too is Sage Ennis, the backup tight end. He looks like he tore his ACL, so he's going to be out for the rest of the year, which is big because, I mean, Jake Bringstorl was the number one, but Sage Ennis was definitely like you could argue you're the top blocking tight end for Clemson. And so how does that kind of work, especially with trying to get runs on the outside and just helping the offensive line. They're going to bring in those, a couple freshmen, Josh Sapp and Olsen Pat Henry will get some more opportunities to step up into that. So that'll be big. So we'll just kind of see how that kind of works, especially I would say just like blocking will be interesting to watch. It looks like offensive line, they're keeping the same as they have in their Notre Dame game, which I don't blame them. I mean, that's what's been working. And so you've got that. Interested to watch too. I mean, those young secondary against Drake May, I think it'll be really interesting to watch. They had a great game last week with Haynes King. You remember he had 4 freshmen with 4 different guys that kind of interception. Really frustrated that offense. I mean, they had over 250 yards, but they got a good chunk of that in the fourth quarter when the game was definitely already decided and some 2s had gone in. So there's an opportunity for guys like Jalen Phillips coming back. We're going to see how much he gets into the fold. Sheridan Jones seems like he's still out. So these young guys are definitely going to get opportunities. And Tyler Venables is coming back. He gets to have an opportunity. I don't know how much he'll play, but it's good to get his feet wet. And remember, he's getting this is going to be like a medical red shirt for him. We're not medical red shirt, but like because of his injury, he in the 4 games that you get to play still, he'll get to use this as a red shirt. So he'll probably be coming back next year. And so that'll be interesting. But if you can get Jalen Phillips back too, that would be good, just on the back end and having solid guy like him. And then got to watch too, Barrett Carter. He was a late scratch before the game. It seemed like maybe it was a shoulder or something. Just these guys are taking a lot of hits, and I think we kind of can forget that. But these guys take so many hits this type of year, and so he ended up just not being able to go. And that's the tough thing too with, like, I would say, like a noon kickoff sometimes, is that it comes quickly, and you just have to make a call, this or that. So I would expect him to be back, but I don't know for sure. I mean, that was a late scratch, but I would imagine with this kind of a game that he will be up and ready to go if he's feeling, if he's gotten the week off, to rest a little bit and get back in, because Tigers will need him on defense, between him and Trotter. Now Woodez and McLeod, they played well, but they've got a good rushing attack. So you really need to, you need those guys in there and ready to go. So when it comes back into this, the spread coming into it was 7 for the contest, like the Roar contest. And I think it's down to like 6.5 for Clemson at home, which was interesting at the beginning, coming into this, because you're like, well, North Carolina can score all these points, and then just, maybe the way the seasons have gone, a little surprised by that. But at the same time, it's at home. Death Valley is a tough place to play, and how Clemson have been playing against Notre Dame and Georgia Tech, there's respect there. And North Carolina, they kind of let Duke hang around. They came back. And then 2 weeks before that, they had a loss to Georgia Tech. And they gave up 46 to them. So North Carolina can give up some points. And I think that's the thing, is I don't know if Clemson wants to get into the 40s, because North Carolina can score, and they've proven they can do that. But I think I think I could see Clemson winning like a 35-24 type of a game. Maybe cause a couple turnovers, maybe hold them to a field goal or 2. The spread's 7, and I think the way Clemson's playing and just the motivation on this team, I can see it, and North Carolina's played these close games. So it's tough for me to see them, like, necessarily flipping it that much. I just think turnovers are massive and be able to move the ball. So that's my prediction. I'm going to go 35-24. So I don't know if Clemson will get a field goal or not. That's still a little bit shaky. Still, I think he can kick. It's just that's a little bit shaky. So I don't know if you want to count on that. And so I'm going to go 35-24 for the matchup. But it's fun. It's a big one in the Valley. So it'll be really fun. So we'll get to talk about it next week. So appreciate y'all listening. And for now, we are signing off.